Okay, so get this. What if I told you there's this AI assistant, right?
Huh?
You probably already have it kind of hidden in plain sight. And like it's built into the tech you use every single day.
See, that's the thing about Copilot that's so cool. It's not some separate thing you got to keep switching to. It's right there in Windows 11, in Word, Excel.
It's like it's already in the mix.
Exactly. Just ready when you need it.
Love that.
Yeah?
Okay, so to break this down, we're looking at this video, right? By Pivot Lu Sol.
Mhm.
Shows how it's actually being used by like business people in Japan.
Sure.
Pretty clever stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, we got to check out the official Microsoft page, get the full story.
Yeah, because that integration is key. Makes all the difference. I mean, think about it. We hear about tools all the time, but then it's a pain to actually use them.
Totally. It's like, why bother?
Right. Copilot it removes that whole barrier. It's just there.
Okay, so one thing that blew my mind from the video, apparently some keyboards now, they have a whole button just for Copilot.
I've heard of that.
Just hit it, boom, AI time.
They're really trying to make it easy to access, which is smart. But honestly, it's more than just the button. It's how Copilot adapts. Like, you can pick different AI modes based on what you're actually doing.
Hold on, so it's not just like one AI for everything. You can kind of customize its brain almost.
Exactly.
So like if I need an answer super fast, even if it's using older info, there's a setting for that. But if I need like crazy accuracy and I'm cool with waiting a bit, I can get the GPT-4 power right.
You got it. You're totally in control.
That's wild. And speaking of control, we got to talk about the notebook feature. That's where things get really interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to ask one-off questions.
Right.
But this is different.
Think of it this way. You're doing a deep dive on something. Research, brainstorming, whatever. The notebook lets you have this back and forth with the AI.
Oh, interesting.
You ask something, it answers. You're like, okay, now what about this angle based on what you just said? And it all gets saved right there in the notebook.
So you're building on what came before. Like it's not just answering in isolation.
Exactly. Like having a crazy smart partner in the room helping you refine your thinking.
That's next level.
Hmm.
Okay, but let's get real world here. How are people actually using Copilot day to day? That YouTube video had some great examples, especially from those Japanese companies.
Oh, for sure.
Like what really stood out?
Well, I think we've all been there, right? Meeting overload.
Don't get me started. My calendar is a war zone some weeks.
Exactly. And it's so easy to fall behind. But imagine you're running late to a meeting. Instead of panicking, you just ask Copilot, hey, catch me up. What's been said so far? You can even tell it to focus on like specific people or topics even.
Like, that's actually genius. I can see that being so helpful.
Right. Lifesaver.
But what about after the meetings? When you're drowning in emails?
Copilot's got you covered there too. It can scan your inbox, highlight the urgent stuff, even pull out tasks so you know what needs your attention first.
Wait, seriously, like it can tell what's actually important.
It can. And get this, if you're feeling brave, you can even have it draft replies.
Whoa. Okay, so now it's like I have a whole AI assistant managing my schedule and my emails.
Right. No more excuses for missing deadlines.
Exactly. But speaking of things that stress me out, presentations. Ugh. I feel like Copilot could be a game changer there too, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know that feeling when you're staring at a blank slide? Like, where do I even start?
The worst.
Well, now imagine this. Instead of burning hours on every little detail, you just feed Copilot your main points, and it actually generates a whole PowerPoint for you.
Wait, hold on. It can do that?
Yep.
For real?
Yep. Lays out the slides, suggests visuals, even writes the first draft of the content.
So it's not like replacing me completely. It's more like giving me a huge head start.
Exactly. You still go in and make it your own, add your style, all that, but the grunt work, gone.
Okay, that's kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah.
It's like having a design buddy, but like on demand, 24/7.
Right. Always there to bounce ideas off of.
That's amazing. Though, we got to talk about the elephant in the room with all this AI stuff. What about jobs?
Yeah, it's a big one, and I get why people are worried. But honestly, I see Copilot as augmenting jobs, not replacing them.
Okay, say more about that. What do you mean by augmenting?
So think of it like this. Copilot's not coming for your actual job, right? What IS doing is taking over those tedious tasks that suck up all your time.
Yeah?
Like scheduling, summarizing documents, all that. The stuff that, frankly, no human should have to spend their life doing.
No kidding. My inbox alone feels soul-crushing sometimes.
Right. So Copilot automates that stuff, and that frees you up to actually use your brain for the stuff AI can't do.
So more strategic thinking, that kind of thing.
Exactly. creative problem solving, building relationships, all that good stuff. Things humans excel at.
So it's less about jobs disappearing and more about them, like, evolving.
100%. Think of it like a calculator and a mathematician. The calculator doesn't make the mathematician useless, right?
Right.
It just handles the calculations so the mathematician can focus on the bigger picture. That's what Copilot does for us.
Ooh, I like that analogy. It's not replacing skills. It's just changing how we use them. Okay, that actually makes me feel a lot better about the whole thing.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Love it. Okay, so back to that YouTube video for a sec. Were there any other cool ways people were using Copilot that stood out?
Oh, yeah, there was one I thought was super smart. This manager was using it to prep for performance reviews with their team.
Okay, now that's interesting. How'd that work?
So instead of spending like a week going through notes for each person, trying to sum up their performance,
Which is the worst.
the worst, they just gave all the meeting notes to Copilot and asked for a summary of each team member's wins and areas for improvement.
So smart. That would save so much time.
Right. And think about it. It probably makes the actual reviews more useful too,
Because it's based on, like, actual data, not just whatever's freshest in your mind.
Exactly. So the manager can go into those conversations prepped, focused on actually helping their team grow, not getting lost in the paperwork.
It's like Copilot takes the robot work out of it so you can focus on the human side of things.
Exactly. And that brings up another key thing about Copilot. It's not just for office drones. Microsoft's designed it to work across all kinds of fields.
Really? So how would it work for, like, a graphic designer? That's pretty different from spreadsheets and emails.
Well, one thing that jumped out at me from the Microsoft website was they talked about AI image generation.
No way.
Yeah. Designers can use Copilot to brainstorm visuals, make mood boards, even generate first drafts of logos and stuff.
Whoa, that's next level. It's like having an instant brainstorming partner. What about other fields, like finance or something?
Oh, totally. Think about fields where you're dealing with tons of data, finance, healthcare, all that.
Makes sense.
Like a financial analyst could use it to dig through market data, find trends, make reports, or a doctor analyzing patient records.
Okay, now I'm seeing the bigger picture. This could change everything.
Right, and we're just scratching the surface here.
It's a lot to take in. But with all these specific features we've talked about, is there something about Copilot itself that makes it stand out, like compared to other AI out there?
You know what really struck me? Especially from those Japanese professionals. They kept talking about how natural the language is, like how well it gets Japanese, which can be super complex.
So it's not just translating, it's actually understanding the nuances.
Exactly, which is huge EE if you're working with global teams or, just need AI that actually gets you, no matter what language you're using.
That's so important because at the end of the day, this is all about communication, right?
Absolutely. And that's where Copilot shines. It helps you connect with people and get things done. No more language barriers.
I gotta say, this has been eye-opening. But I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot. For our listeners who are maybe new to AI or feeling a little overwhelmed, what advice would you give them?
Don't be scared. Approach it with curiosity. Copilot is designed to be easy to use, even if you're not a tech whiz.
Right.
And the best part is, you don't have to learn everything at once.
Yeah, don't get in over your head.
Exactly. Start small, pick one thing you're curious about, and just mess around with it. See how it can make your life a little easier.
Love that. Start small, experiment. Don't be afraid to break things.
Right, exactly. Make mistakes. That's how you learn. And there are tons of resources online, too, if you get stuck.
True. And speaking of learning, we've only scratched the surface of what Copilot can do.
Oh, for sure. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Which is kind of exciting when you think about it.
It is exciting. This is just the beginning for AI. And honestly, those who jump in now, they're the ones who'll shape what it becomes.
I mean, it really feels like we're on the edge of something huge And Copilot, it's like, our ticket in.
And the thing is, it's not off in the future somewhere, right? People hear AI and they think it's all sci-fi, but Copilot, it's already here.
It's like, it's already part of the tools we use every day. It's wild.
Right. It's not about waiting for this AI revolution. We're living it right now. Those who jump in early, they're the ones who get to shape what it becomes.
Okay, that's a really good point. So if our listeners take away one thing today, what should it be?
Don't underestimate what you've already got. Like, for real, Copilot is powerful.
You'd sleep on it, right?
Exactly.
Explore it, mess around with it. You might surprise yourself.
The future is here. Might as well get to know it.
Couldn't agree more. Well, on that note, this has been our deep dive into Microsoft Copilot. We'll catch you next time, folks, for another look at the tech that's changing the game. Until then, stay curious.